As a young citizen of India, armed with technology, knowledge, and love for my nation, with a vision of transforming India into a developed nation, I am joining Shobhit University. What about you?
Very good morning to all the participants from India and abroad. Shobhit Institute of Engineering and Technology Meerut, deemed university, and its a Centers of Excellence. Center for Informatics Development Solutions and Applications, and Center for Industry 4.0 Technology Studies and Applications, in association with African Asian Rural Development Organization, or New Delhi, organize this weekly international webinar series on open source digital technologies towards self-reliant India, Atmanirbhar Bharat, 19th June 2021, on behalf of the Honorable Chancellor, His Excellency, the Secretary General, Ardo, Honorable Vice Chancellor, the faculty members of the university, and on my behalf, and as Professor Emeritus and Chairman of the Centers of Excellence, Center for Agricultural Informatics and E-Governance Research Studies, Center for Agribusiness and Disaster Management Studies, Center for Informatics Development Solutions and Applications, and Center for Industry 4.0 Studies and Applications. Welcome our guest speaker of today's webinar, Mr. R.K. Jeyabalan. Today's topic is digital transformation in small enterprises and small businesses of India, challenges and opportunities. To the guest speaker, I would like to inform the following details. Under this international webinar series, these two centers of excellence, Center for Informatics Development Solutions and Applications and Center for Industry 4.0 Technology Studies and Application, have organized 32 lectures so far, namely Open Technologies to Provision Simple and Economical IT Infrastructure, a roadmap for students using free and open source software and reaching goals of Atmanirbhar Bharat. Open source software and industrial IoTs for SMEs. Free and open source software adoption, public business models. Open data platform for smart digital government. Technology imperatives. Make in India for self-reliance. Edge artificial intelligence. Data governance for self-reliant India. Digital India transforming governance and society. India's email service, citizen@indiamail.com, in 22 constitutionally recognized languages. Ecosystem architecture for digital transformation. Education system cyber critical infrastructure. Seizing opportunities in open innovation and value creation network in the digital world for self-reliant economy. Ensuring food safety and compliance through technology. Digital India, urgent need for semiconductor manufacturing in India. Technology investment in agriculture value chain, role of foreign direct investments. Entrepreneurship and skill development, artificial intelligence design pathways. The rise of platform economy, revisiting value chain governance. Era of automation, industrial robotics, and Industry 4.0, Indo-German perspective of technology transfer, skill gap analysis, and opportunities. Role of artificial intelligence in healthcare, current developments in diagnosis and vaccine research. So, digital agri-tech and agri-startup perspective. Health informatics network value chain, e-health system and beyond. Leveraging emerging technologies for ensuring transparent and traceable agriculture and food value chain. Unleash the power of citizen development for enterprise software development. E-governance models towards sustained quality services to citizens backed by technology. Indian MSMEs to adapt Industry 4.0 technology capabilities. Urgent need for mentorship and accelerator program. Building public digital platform using microservices and APIs. Health informatics network value chain. Early childhood development and learning. Health informatics network value chain, clinical artificial intelligence. Interface between machine learning and health informatics. Health informatics network value chain, importance of social medicine and community health in the times of health emergency. G filter, gravity filter, a simple low-cost solution to the drinking water treatment in rural India. Open source GovTech startups empowering growth with automation. Today is the 33rd edition of this very important webinar series. We will have the talk by our guest speaker, Mr. R.K. Jeyabalan, founder and CEO, ConsoTree, advisor technology industry and catalyst research industry development, Madurai, state of Tamilnadu. And the topic, digital transformation in small enterprises and small businesses of India, challenges and opportunities. For the audience, please note down the keywords of the title. Digital transformation, small enterprises, small businesses. When we undertake digital transformation, what are the challenges and what are the, which are the opportunities, one has to look at it. To recall, on 12th September 2020, we had a talk on open technologies to provision simple and economical IT infrastructure by Dr. B. Balasubramanian, former Deputy Director General NIC, head NIC Open Technology Center, Chennai. On 25th September 2020, a talk on open source software and industrial IoT for SMEs by Dr. H.K. Suhas, former Deputy Director General NIC. On 24th October 2020, a talk by Edge Artificial Intelligence by Dr. Petru Raj Chelaya, Chief Architect and Vice President from Reliance Jio Platform Limited, Bangalore. On 21st November 2020, a talk on ecosystem architecture for digital transformation by Sri J. Narayana, IAS retired, former Secretary to Government of India. On 5th December 2020, a talk by Seizing Opportunities in Open Innovation and Value Creation Network in Digital World for Self-Reliant Economy by Dr. Jeyabalan Vinanchi Arachi, former Principal Advisor to the Director General, UNIDO, Vienna and Australia. Mr. Jeyabalan, today he has sent a request to me that Dr. Jeyabalan would like to interact with you online after your talk is over. And he is at present at Kanyakumari and he would like to discuss with you. And we have sent the link to him. After your talk is over, he will join.
Sure.
On 16th January 2021, a talk on the year of automation, industrial robotics and industry 4.0, Indo-German perspective of technology transfer, skill gap analysis and opportunities. On 6th March 2021, a talk on Indian MSMEs to adopt industry 4.0 technology capabilities, industry 4, urgent need for mentorship and accelerator program. On 12th June 2021, a talk on open source GovTech startup, empowering growth with automation. The list is growing with various topics. And let us look into the Atmanirbhar Bharat, the road ahead. This is the vision of Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi of making India self-reliant nation, rested on 5 I's: intent, innovation, inclusion, investment, and infrastructure. And based on 5 pillars, namely economy, an economy which is to have quantum jump and not incremental. Infrastructure, that one represents modern India. Systems, 21st century technology driven. Vibrant demography, source of energy for self-reliant India. And a demand whereby the strength of our demand and supply chain should be utilized to full capacity. This was announced on 15th May 2020 through a special and comprehensive economic package of rupees 20 lakh crore that accounts for 10% of India's GDP to bring the economy back on track. Vocal for local to make it global. A demand-based economy system which is self-producing and self-consuming. These reforms announced have been systematic, planned, integrated, interconnected, and futuristic for creating strong enterprises, generating employment, and robust supply chain. On 5th March 2021, in the webinar on productivity-linked incentive scheme for 13 crore sectors, in which the Prime Minister said the PLI scheme would make a major impact to the country's MSME ecosystem. By creating an anchor unit in every sector that will need a new supplier base across the entire value chain. He urged the industry to join and take advantage of the productivity-linked incentive scheme. He urged the industry to innovate according to the needs of the fast-changing world, increase our participation in R&D, and upgrading the manpower skill and use of new technology. The Honorable Prime Minister of India said we have to attract cutting-edge technology and maximum investment in the sectors related to our core competency. Impact of Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan on MSMEs. Atmanirbhar Bharat MSMEs is Modi government's Make in India 2.0, gateway to self-reliance for small businesses and small enterprises. The Make in India strategy has been adopted to facilitate investment, foster innovation, enhance skill development, encourage employment, and build a sustainable ecosystem for MSME sector in India. E-market linkage of MSME is to be promoted to act as a replacement for trade fairs and exhibition. FinTech will be used to enhance transaction-based lending using the data generated by the e-marketplace. Digital world, the rising platform economy, application of big data, new algorithms, AI, blockchain technology, open API, and cloud computing is changing the nature of work and structure of economy. The digital platform economy is emerging. Industry 4.0 is today and Industry 5.0 tomorrow. The fourth industrial revolution is the ongoing automation of traditional manufacturing and industrial practices using modern smart technology. The key technologies are classified as A, B, C, D, E. A means artificial intelligence, analytics, operation research. B means blockchain. C means cloud, IoT, and 5G communication. B means big data, and E means ecosystem. If you look at Industry 4.0 supply chain for the agricultural sector, you have farmer, you have warehouse, you have processing center, you have service provider, you have extension agents, and you have logistics. But at the same time, the accompanying technologies are real-time monitoring, organized inventory, decision making, IoT, AI, artificial intelligence, machine learning, blockchain, automation, and reduced labor. Digital transformation is building public digital platform using microservices and APIs, according to Wikipedia. Microservices architecture and APIs for development of public digital platform is taking place in every sector. Services can be implemented using different programming languages, databases, hardware, and software environment, depending upon what fits best. From a strategic perspective, microservices architecture essentially follows the Unix philosophy of doing one thing and do it well. Doing one thing and do it well. Data underpins the 6 P's of digital services: personalized data, paperless data, presence-less data, proactive data, perceptive data, and pervasive data. Digital transformation is a step towards vocal for local, making it global. Digital transformation is the procedure for defining all business strategies. It means the emergence of latest technologies for business growth by an organizational change and making strategic plans. MSMEs are considered as the backbone of our Indian economy. 6 million, lakhs and lakhs of, business units. The sector contributes to about 30% of India's GDP, 40% of exports, and employs over 110 million people. These businesses are looking for reliable, secure connectivity and digital platforms that will add to their efficiency and competitiveness. They are emerging as a highly dynamic and vibrant sector of India and play a major role in both the social and economic development of the country for generating the highest employment opportunities. For the past several years, the MSME sector has started facing challenges that come up in the form of GST regimes, inefficient supply chain, lack of technical knowledge, or facing difficulty in collecting funds. Digital MSME scheme of 2017 of the Ministry of MSME provided training to MSMEs, enabling them to moving towards digital transformation. According to a recent Cisco report, small businesses are the bedrock of India's economy. This report is on 27th January 2021. Digitalization of our small businesses could contribute to US dollar 216 billion to the country's GDP. 216 billion to the country's GDP. Our goal is to enable MSMEs in India to accelerate their digital transformation and pave India's way to a US dollar 5 trillion economy. According to Mr. Anushruti Singh, in his article, August 30, 2020, in the portal smefutures.com, he says next normal is the recovery will be digital. The next normal column, the recovery will be digital. Small businesses have been constantly grappling with the drastically reduced liquidity, disrupted supply chain, and lending challenges. To bounce back, they needed to be reimagined their business models, identify their place, and role in the new normal. Hence, most small businesses have realized that going digital is critical, and now they are willing to disrupt them. Small businesses will be planning to employ artificial intelligence and machine learning tools that will automate its communication with the customers and will establish supply chain resilience. COVID-19 has redefined businesses in India, putting the focus on online practices. This also seems to be a long-term formula for growth in the new world. 5 challenges SMEs face in the digital transformation journey, according to an article dated 18th August 2020. Which are they? Insufficient growth capital, lack of awareness of digital transformation impact on business enablement, lack of inherent technology expertise, dynamic nature of digital technologies, managing the data and creating a backup plan. Let me repeat. Insufficient growth capital, lack of awareness of digital transformation impact on business enablement, lack of inherent technology expertise, dynamic nature of digital technologies, and managing the data and creating a backup plan. So we need a framework for digitalization of MSME. Dr. Balasubramaniam, former Deputy Director General, National Informatics Center, former head of National Open Technology Center, is in the process of preparing a framework for digitalization of MSME. I'm also involved. He says that SMEs in many developed countries have progressed considerably in adoption of smart technologies towards Industry 4.0 and Industry 5.0. They used successful manufacturing approaches like inclusion of partners in chains, supply chains, value chains, simple and effective ERP-centric approaches, open innovations, adoption of agile methodology, innovation labs for demonstrations, multiple stakeholder approach, skill and talent development, funding of digital transformation. European Union have undertaken steps to make SME leaders as AI-enabled e-leaders. In order to take advantage of these emerging digital technologies, it is required to create a framework to facilitate MSMEs to enhance their capabilities to compete locally and globally in making sustainable, profitable, and pragmatic digital transformation towards Industry 4.0 and Industry 5.0. India needs to adapt digitalization of small business, small enterprises, both in urban and rural. It's combinedly called MSMEs, and also KVIC industries. New opportunities will open up for SMEs with industrial IoTs and e-commerce platforms, wherein they can offer tailor-made services and products using digital platforms. Another important thing in MSMEs, when we talk about digital transformation, is meeting the regulatory compliance or regulatory compliances. And in this area, lot of tech startups are emerging. They are all called regulatory tech startups, tech startups. This will create a world where it is easier for business to comply, unlocking both opportunity and business value without comprising consumer, without compromising consumer protection. And that makes a better world for everyone. And RegTech promises to disrupt the regulatory landscape by providing technologically advanced solutions to increase to the advanced solutions to the ever-increasing demands of compliance with the financial industry. MSMEs need one such regulatory regulatory tech in every cluster. Many industry manufacturers still stuck up in Industry 2.5 with their paper-based processes and heavy human dependency. Schemes of micro, small, and medium. This has been published as an e-book that may be operationalized through digitalization. Our motivation in the university is that through the Center for Industry 4.0 Technology Studies and Applications, we are launching, academic programs at the level of MBA in Industry 4.0 and PG Diploma in Industry 4.0 and a Diploma in 4.0 for, creating capabilities and capacities in the SMEs sector. With this background, let us now turn to the address by Mr. R.K. Jeyabalan on the topic digital transformation in small enterprises and small businesses of India, challenges and opportunities. This topic will motivate and galvanize the participants watching over telecast through facebook.com Sobit University India or youtube.com Sobit University India for motivating them to establish Industry 4.0 tech startups to harness the power of transformers, technology, and capital to modernize the operations of SMB, small business, small enterprises, so we can repair the society's connective tissues. This will lead to empower India through Make in India 2.0 more vibrant. Let me introduce our guest speaker to the audience, Mr. R.K. Jeyabalan. Mr. Manish, can you display? Mr. Manish. Profile of Mr. R.K. Jeyabalan is the founder, CEO, ConsoTree, advisor technology industry, catalyst to research industry development. Mr. R.K. Jeyabalan is a versatile socio-technopreneur, catalyzes inclusive growth by research, industry development, advocacy, and government interface. He is also a politician involved in people-centric initiatives. He comes with a strong track in information technology, business consulting, and development initiatives for the last 28 years, driven by social commitment. Mr. Jeyabalan founded and running a consortium for technology research, entrepreneurship, and employment, namely ConsoTree, a social enterprise that enables transformation through research, industry development, entrepreneurship, and livelihood improvement. Active contributor for various industry bodies, business schools, and technology institutions. You can see much details in the portal www.consotree.org. He was a founder and CEO of Enthai Innovations Private Limited, a specialized consulting and IT services company that was acquired by an ERP service provider based out of Houston. Jeyabalan is a proven technology solution expert with a sound business acumen who built vertical business practices for manufacturing, business, financial services, service and public sectors, technology practices for ERP, SAP, Oracle, Quad, and Ramco, enterprise mobility, big data, IoT, and artificial intelligence. His clients include Airbus, Unilever, Ford, Chrysler, VW, Nissan, Sony, Becton, Dickinson, Plantronics, Acer, Goodyear, and Levis. Handled many strategic engagement for Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, Government of India, and Government of Tamilnadu. Having played a leadership role for many IT majors for a long period, Jeyabalan has deeper connections with FG clients, played pivotal roles in businesses, solutions, delivery, and operations in Americas, Europe, APAC, and Australia and New Zealand markets, has successfully closed dollar deals. Being an active contributor and president of the Software Industries Development Association, an affiliate industry body for NASCOM, Jeyabalan is helping to transform, is more important. Jeyabalan is helping to transform Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities as knowledge economies, and working closely with the industry, government, and administration. Mr. Jeyabalan, we welcome you to the international webinar series on open source digital technologies for self-reliant India, Atmanirbhar Bharat, on the topic digital transformation in small enterprises and small businesses of India and challenges and opportunities. Thank you. Over to Mr. R.K. Jeyabalan for your address.
Yeah. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Dr. Moni, and good afternoon, the esteemed audience of this session. It's a great pleasure to join in this event. I'm not so conversant with this kind of forums. I think it's the forum mixed of industry, academia, and a lot of SMBs, also the entrepreneurs. So this is a kind of very wide audience. So I want to probably give a perspective of things as Dr. Moni has put it. And it's a great pleasure probably joining this event and probably throw more ideas and the thought process behind it. Ms. Moni has already put it very succinctly what it is all about. All of us know what is digital transformation. And Dr. Moni has given a wonderful background about how the India is thriving in the digital transformation. He has given a lot of statistics, numbers, and being a technocrat, he has given the government point of view also. This has made my job so simpler. So probably I would take only one side of it. Actually, it's more of how the industries can pursue, especially how SMBs can probably follow this, and entrepreneurs who are trying to make solutions out of it, trying to create offerings for SMBs. Probably this session could be more helpful. I'm working with the SMBs for the last 7-8 years. Ever since I worked with the top tier companies and top IT houses of the country, my passion was always to go to the tier 2, tier 3 cities and work with the industries, especially small, medium enterprises, and try to bring up the technology solutions that the majors are using, top companies are using, the Fortune global companies are using. If you look at India, we are the IT powerhouse of the world. But if you look at the adoption of technology at a grassroots level, at agriculture, at the industry levels, it is still to catch up. We still have to go a longer way. So, having said that, what are the impediments? How we can transform this? So that has been, the kind of purpose that we have been pursuing for quite some time. To my surprise, when we started, we are able to see there are a lot of wonderful brains involved in the industries, SMBs especially. Most of them are second gen or third generation of people who are very conversant with the technology. But then what happens when they get to operate their business, they still operate in the way their parents are doing or their ancestors were doing. So what is the disconnect? Why are they not adapting technologies as we are talking about? Why are they not getting the opportunities that the larger industries are getting it? What is it that it stops them to enjoy the wonderful technology stack that's available and that helps them to scale up at a very larger level? So that has been my question all the while, and that's the only motivation. I've been working all these years with them. And recently in the wave 1 of COVID, we really touched. We went to all the enterprises, all the SMBs, SMB associations as well in the state of Tamilnadu, and we heard them what is really the problem, how do they cope up in the overall economic turmoil, and also we try to understand where they are up to at the technology level, and we came up with a kind of detailed report. This was done along with IIT Madras, and we try to submit it to various forums. In fact, RBI took it, and even it went to the Ministry of MSME and various other forums. So the point is how we can take them at least one step forward every month and to make them very competitive at a global scale. So that's the whole mission that we have undertaken from the ConsoTree. Today I'm trying to run a small mind map. Why mind map? Because I don't want to run a PPT. I don't want to be very formal, and I try to abstain from technology jargons. Basically, all of us, the people here, the technocrats or the industry people or the IT people, they understand the technology jargons. But I want to be very specific and to be very closer to the SMBs. So SMBs, I want to be very plain in a simple language. I try to articulate what it means to them, what is it poses as a challenge for their technology adoption. So let me run through the series of points that I've made. Please feel free to probably pass your questions to Dr. Moni and the organizing team, and we will take it up at the fag end. So once again, thanks for the opportunity. Once again, thanks for listening, and thanks Dr. Moni for facilitating this session. So shall I go to share the screen?
Please.
Okay, so this whole session is being divided into 7 or 8 points. First, I try to set a context of what SMB characteristics, which many of us know, and Dr. Moni has already given a complete view of it, and I would want to probably catch up on that. And I don't have to define what is digital transformation, which has been very clearly articulated in the session. I would try to say from SMB's point of view why it's required, and subsequently I can touch upon the challenges and opportunities as we have slated. So look at broadly what is SMB characteristic at a global level. Yes, not only for India, for any economy, they are the pillars. Actually, they are the pillars for driving the economy forward. They are the pillars for progression. They are the pillars for the development. If you look at SMBs, they are probably very small in terms of the capital or size. But what really drives them forward is because they are heroes. Actually, they take the business, they do everything. Unlike the larger companies where they have multiple pillars like support units, they have stronger marketing departments, they have stronger operations, they have stronger manufacturing, stronger technology background, probably a CIO and various advisors. The SMBs have only one person taking care of all the roles, one person who's wearing multiple hats, and time to time he moves around. So the SMB founders are the leaders who are really operating like heroes, and they are sacrificing. In fact, the SMB leaders, if they put their effort in a larger enterprises, they would earn more. But what the SMBs are doing for the nation, for the world, is much more than what they are getting from the industry, getting from the country. So we really have to thank them, thank the leaders of SMB community. And if you look at it, they start very small with the smaller capital, the word small medium businesses, and they always maneuver through financial difficulties and try to scale up still and try to grow bigger. Normally 1 out of 10 go to the next league. That means the small goes to medium and medium goes to larger. So the remaining 9, they end up still fighting with the financial difficulties and try to scale up. That's a never-ending financial difficulty, and they try to maneuver. And they survive with the very fierce market conditions, and there are a lot of ups and downs. Add to that a lot of external situations and the disasters and pandemic situation like this. They still have to run with that. And always they are kind of pressurized in terms of margins. Basically, they have to compete with the large enterprises. They have to compete with the global brands. They have to compete with the markets and the products that are being imported to the country. So if you look at their set of problems, it is very difficult. They are always the survivors. They try to maneuver through the situation and try to survive. If you go through the numbers, every 2 or 3 years, 1/3 of businesses kind of get to an end. They cease, and the new entrants are coming, which means they are very vulnerable. They are really in a difficult situation to probably cope and to stay afloat. This is what we have been seeing all across. And very interesting characteristic. One second, just a moment. So another important characteristics. Lot of SMBs are family owned, and today the Gen Zs, their children, their Gen Zs who are born after 1995, they are tech savvies, and they probably shy away from the kind of legacy the family is running. Of course, I don't want to generalize it. Not everyone, at least majority of portions, they still want to go to knowledge-based economy. They want to work in technologies. They want to work in a cutting-edge industries, but not in the SMBs. And so look at the founders of SMBs. They are still struggling. They are still trying to uphold the legacy that they have built and still contributing for the country. So put it across, SMBs are the great warriors, and they have a lot of stories and the history which has been recorded in the past many decades. So what it means for digital transformation? Why digital transformation for SMBs? Of course, everyone knows the answer. I just wanted to put it from the SMB's point of view. If you look at it, surviving in countries like ours, where regulatory, ever-changing taxations, norms, and other things, because as a country, we still have to manage with it. We have no other choices. The regulatory is changing because it is trying to create a conducive environment where they can thrive better. So the country is creating more regulations like GSTs and other stuff. It is trying to helping them, but the change is really causing a lot of issues. A lot of nightmare, I would say. So fulfilling the regulatory has been a topmost priority for SMBs. The second priority is more like financing to run the business, that is coming only after the regulatory. And survival is the biggest question. So they many a times they can't adapt futuristic solution. They could not go for automation of their businesses because the condition that they are living in, they still have to survive and stay afloat, pay their loans. So that's the kind of priority they are living in. And they always look at their peers than the customers, which means they still look at their peers. Peers are their competition. They try to learn from them. They try to beat it, because many times the price wars are caused by the peers. So the competition is more intense than the expert. Basically, they have to focus more on the peers and the competitors than the customers. So that's becoming a problem. These are some of the parameters that is very clearly saying why they should focus onto the transformation by digital. And many SMBs, they are top line oriented because they borrow heavily, so they rotate money. So top line is very important. They try to pay back some of the loans and they try to move on. So many times the margins are hit. They are not very bottom line centric. These are all characters of somebody who are in a struggling, which are more than 2/3 of the SMBs are in the same situation. One third of it are probably 20-25% still are thriving and trying to be better. So for SMBs, technology is always seen as a luxury, right? So it is not something which they take it and flying colors. It's just a luxury, and they still have to run the business and they have to slowly get to adoption. So from their point of view, how do you want to group the technology stack? One is, you all know, the infrastructure is one area where the digital means. So they have to buy desktops, internet, laptops, other gadgets, etc. And thanks to the technology of cloud computing, that is at least helping them to probably focus on the OPEX than OPEX. Regulatories, taxation, EPF, e-filing. Today, e-filing website has been simplified. That is helping the businesses. But if you look at it, they still can't do it on their own. They still have to depend on the auditors or the tax professionals to apply it, to file certain statements, etc. And they always use very fundamental basic solutions like bookkeeping, etc. Many SMBs still are not running their ERPs. Though the ERPs are there in the market for more than 30 years, lot of SMBs, they are still in a very manual mode. They are still using the manual methods, using spreadsheets to record their details. They still don't have much of payroll applications, etc. Of course, they might have back office application thanks to the technology today, even the mobile technologies. All these technologies are given, it's made near zero, and they're working on. So the core technology stack, core digital needs, if you look at it, transactional, regulatory, back office, and the infrastructure. These are the four which are very, very important for their digital needs. Besides, thanks to the situation like this, the pandemic like this, where they are using collaboration technology and they are adapting to it faster, and this has been a disguise, but it's an opportunity still. And a lot of people are moving to digital or online advertisements and their branding. So that's another stack. So I'm trying to put it in their point of view what digital means. And sales and marketing technologies, CRMs, distribution technologies, online advertisements, e-commerce, etc. So then the last come is product development tools like drawing tools if they are into mechanical or automotive or the similar discrete manufacturing areas, and the modeling softwares. And if you really look at closely, the transformational solution is always AI, IoT, analytics, Industry 4.0. So if you really look closely, the problem that they have is they are not there. They are not able to reach to the transformational solution. They are still in the core solutions. They are still trying to adapt the digital. So today, the way the world is moving, they still have to catch up everything, and they have to quickly jump to the AI, IoT, because the global peers, the global SMBs are still at a very superior level. They are using better technologies. So look at their stakeholders. Who are the stakeholders for SMBs? the customers. So what customers expect from a digital transformation point of view? Always they want faster and better goods and services from the SMBs. What suppliers want? The suppliers always want faster payments, and the regulatory want faster compliance, the better and accurate inputs. So there is one word which is coming repeatedly is faster and better. So to be in the SMB business, they have to satisfy all the stakeholders in a very faster manner, in a better manner. So the digital transformation, we know why it is very important for them. So if you look at the stages of transformation or stages of technology adoption, there are 6 A's which we can say. One is aversion. Initially, they are averse to technology implementation or they are averse to digital transformation. As Dr. Moni has put it, it is basically boiling down to the financials or the investments. Many times they want to, but the problem is they don't have money. They stagger it for many years. The second stage is they get to awareness. They try to understand solution portfolio, but still they are not there. They still don't adapt it. The third stage is a lot of vendors are coming. Thanks to big majors like Google's and Microsoft, they all come with their the freemiums and the premiums. So they get trials, evaluation. So today, a lot of SMBs have got access to technology. The fourth stage of technology adoption is basically acceptance proofs and really understanding that it works and it is essential part of their journey. So that's what they understand. The fifth and the foremost important transformation stage is adaptation. So many people then slowly start adapting to the digital implementation. The actuation comes when they reach to a transformational solution and the transformation is achieved. So these are stages one has to slowly undergo. If you look at SMBs, many are in the second or third stage, and when they reach the sixth stage, that's where they will be able to deliver much better. They will be leading a better, the industry and better profits and the better life. Still, I'm trying to talk from their point of view. So pardon me if you are not able to connect further. So the language that I'm trying to advocate is from the SMB's point of view. So let's try to understand what are the myths surrounded from SMB's point of view in the technology adoption. So the myth is based, many times they think, they need cutting edge technology to remain competitive, which we all know is not true. And they always think that technology is something white elephant. They need to spend a lot of money, so it involves a lot of cost. The TCO is very, very high. So that's their understanding. And they always think that I don't know much of technology. I'm the first generation entrepreneur. I probably created this legacy. I'm still not tech savvy. So that's the perception of many SMB owners. And always they think that I still have to depend on somebody else if I go for a digital implementation. Because because SMBs, if you look at it, many companies are less than 20-25 people involved, and some of them are in the shop floor, some of them in the operations. So the managing part is still done by the owners or the leadership team. So what do they mean about technology adoption? Is they still think that I have to learn, I probably may be stuck with the technology. So they find it very risky. And also they think that once I get into the technology, then it's very difficult for me to exit, and my business may be in a kind of risky situation, or I may be stuck. So that's the kind of views that they have. We all know, we are techies, we know the world, we know the technology part of it, and we know these are all myths, but still they still have to be convinced about it, especially with the very small, tiny, the small businesses. At least the medium is better today. Medium is, at least if you define it in a broadly, probably it is about 100 people company, and they still have the luxury. They are at least better than these small enterprises. So this session is more about small enterprises and small businesses. So these are myths which are surrounded. So their problem is how to overcome all these challenges. And there are problems inherently. If you look at the problems, these are all impediments for them to go forward. One is look at our side, the technology vendors, we normally have some best solution, but that may be a point solution. For example, I may have a point of sale solution that may be a wonderful mobile enabled, which has got a lot of cutting edge features. So when I go and sell it to the SMB, what happens? I try to convince that it will probably take them to a greater level of height. But in reality, it may not be. It may be solving only a set of business problems. But SMBs, look at it, they are in a very constrained situation. They have very limited investment capacity. So whatever they invest, they expect more. But we as a vendor, we try to say that everything is delivered by the solution. End of the day, it becomes misfit because they assume something different and we provide something different. So this is really a showstopper. Many times they are getting deceived and they shy away from technology. If you really look at it, why SMBs are not adapting? At least every SMB owner could have come across a situation where they are being oversold and under-delivered. So that's a bigger problem. The second one is, we always go with the technology view of things, not really understanding the nitty-gritties or the minor aspects of their business. And it is also true that when we deal with the larger enterprises, when I'm saying we, at least the technology companies or the larger techies, what we think is, when I serve a larger enterprise or a medium-sized enterprise, I'm probably paid more. So when I go to the small businesses, and the time and effort is still same. So I try to kind of generalize and deliver something and try to make some money and come out of it faster. But what they feel, what SMBs perceive us or perceive the vendors is that we don't understand their business and we don't try to give a kind of composite solution. And it is also true that ongoing cost is very high still because they still have to operate it. Whatever said and done, they are having a very limited knowledge and awareness about the technology. So supporting it and solving their business problems in an ongoing manner, looking at the growing stage of our economy, our resources are not so cheaper, our people are not cheaper, and they fly, they move from the jobs, and somebody has to be brought in and they have to learn the technology, learn their business environment. So the ongoing cost is always very high from their point of view. And SMBs still cannot go for one interconnected larger solution because basically their affordability, right? So they still buy something in a smaller size and they go for some other solution at a later point of time. So over a period of time, they accumulate some siloed solutions, which is not talking to each other. The integration is problem, and they still have to fight and maneuver with the technology issues that they undergo. So these are all something which is really making them to think twice or thrice whether to go for a digital adoption. Is it a good thing to still stay in a very manual manner and run the business as it is? And since every technology comes with disparate skills, very different skills, they are stumbled with the kind of people that they need to support. And the sudden renewal, sudden upgrades that are being thrown onto them, the expenses are also very high. On top of it, many times, even the small, medium companies, the one peculiar problem is they lose their vendor. The vendors are also losing their business and they go out of business. Then they don't have anybody to support it. So suddenly their technology is abandoned. There's no support involved. So these are all throwing a lot of challenges. Looking at their capacity, their economies, it becomes a nightmare for them to manage digital. So if you really look at the SMB's point of view, they always have a problem of how to manage the whole technology stack and how to be digitally strong. And as we earlier spoken about, retention of technology workers, especially if I think through the tier 2, tier 3 cities of India, what happens? The children quickly graduate, then take some technology education, then they try to go to a metro cities like Bangalore or Pune or Mumbai or Noida region, Gurgaon. So they try to make some 5-digit, 6-digit salary. So they leave, the SMBs quickly. They get little experience from SMB working with the SMBs and they flee. And retention of the technology workers, the technology operators is also another bigger problem. So once they leave it and they still have to get somebody, train them, till then the business has to suffer, right? There will not be a continuity. So all this put a lot of pressure on them to adapt digital. Some of the problems you may still thinking that these are all problems which you have been talking about 20 years, right? But if you look at it, it is still existing. Still a lot of small players, small enterprises who are making a turnover of say 5 to 10 crore, which is especially in a small category. They all have the same problem. If you go and ask anyone, this is the truth. And how do we help them? How do we maneuver, to overcome this? So I'm trying to zoom in a little closer to able SMBs. When I say able SMBs, they have at least a little bit of cushion. They have a bit of profitability. They have a little bit of money to evaluate solution and do that. So what is the opportunity that they have? What is the risk that they can think of? So first foremost issue any SMB have to adapt is they have to define what their digital needs are. Many times SMBs who are not even having a basic core technology stack like ERPs or the basic elements, the infrastructure, they can't go to the second stage or third stage, or they cannot adapt any transformation solution. So very clearly crafting mindfully and defining the digital needs according to their business is very, very important. If they make some mistakes in the path, and if somebody deceive them, it's a bigger problem. So they have to be very careful in defining their digital needs. And also, if you look at it, though it is SMB, every SMB is a different vertical, probably. Even if you look at SMBs, we can broadly classify into 3 major groups, as you all might be knowing. One is manufacturing, the small medium manufacturing enterprises. Then there are a bunch of traders, the trading or the selling companies, the service industries. All the 3 are 3 different broader buckets, the broader vertical. And within each of them, if you look at manufacturing, you have digital manufacturing, you have process manufacturing, food manufacturing, the agro manufacturing. So if you go to each and every sub-vertical, they have a very unique business problem. So the solutions have to be talking to those specifics of the vertical. So if they go for digital adaptation, they first have to learn the benchmarks from their sub-vertical. For example, a plastic manufacturer who want to go for digital, they have to talk to the people in the plastic manufacturing, not into something else. So learning the benchmark from their respective sub-vertical is very important. Then they have to create a broader roadmap. So unless they have a roadmap as what they are going to implement first, what they are going to probably adapt next, they cannot realize the value. Many times, since they don't have much of idea about those things, it's very difficult for them to realize the value. And the budgets, if you look at the estimates and budget, they still have to do a lot of tweaking here, because once they get in and if they don't have budgets, they'll be in a problem. They can't really continue it, right? That is not only from the technology issue, it's also hurting their businesses very severely. And any technology adaptation, it involves at least 3 to 6 quarters of paying off. Say, take a very simple solution like POS. If they run it for at least 1 financial year, they will come to know how it has helped, how much productivity they have, how much data they have got, and how they can really live with that. It's not just in a day it comes in. So they have to be very patient. So these are all very individualized view of SMBs. So we always tell SMBs this: always go and talk to 2-3 people who are advisor in your industries. And thanks to the environment today, at least industries like ours, like the academia, like Dr. Moni, we all have a lot of experienced people who are able to guide it, who are able to throw perception in a social media, and a lot of knowledge is available online. They can still search it. So the opportunity is unlimited. The digital adaptation is a huge opportunity. They can really improvise their business, but the digital roadmap is very, very important for them to craft. And to do the individualized approach, they still need to have the financial resources. So these are some of the pointers for the individual SMBs. But many times, if you look at it, the individual SMBs are the ones who are stumbled. They are not able to really go for technology investments. So I know a lot of people. Even yesterday when I spoke to Dr. Moni was talking about, the red chili manufacturers or red chili processing units in the, the deeper southern part of the country. And look at them, they are all very, very small players and they are basically agropreneurs. So how do they avail technology? Probably individually they cannot do it because they still do not have that reach, they do not have the financial capacity, they do not have the technology understanding. So this is where the cluster approach, what I mean is, it is not addressing, one SMB's problem, but industry association, they can provide a kind of catalytic role. They can probably unify, because if you look at a particular industry vertical, for example, a red chili manufacturer or a food manufacturer or a component manufacturer in the automotive industry, what they can do, first of all, they can see a kind of unified requirements what each of them might need, and those unified requirements can be addressed in a better manner together. So get all the vertical peers. When I say vertical peers, take the specific vertical industries together and unify the requirements, collate their requirements, understand their requirements, record it. That's the very first step. Then go for a layered approach where start with the core, digital. When I say core digital, as we have seen it, it is the infrastructure part, which is computers, laptops, or cloud, or internet. Those things, plus the transactional applications, the regulatory compliance application, and the back office. These all forms kind of core digital needs. The second one is something that is very close to the vertical industry that they are in. For example, a discrete manufacturing industry may have a particular software which may help them in planning it better, and which may help them to do a program management and things like that. Then go to the discretionary, the transformational tools where they can harness more power of technology. So the layer approach is basically go together and address it from the bottom, like go from the core, then go to the vertical solutions, then go to the high value solutions, then go for attacking transformational solution. Always, if you join as a cluster, you can avail some advisory panel. So many times, if you look at it within your industry association, there may be people who have already implemented digital. They have got necessary knowledge. They are connected with some good techies or the technology players. So you can, when I say you can, it is association. The industry bodies, the clusters can create advisory panel at their level and probably create a technology stack, technology roadmap for them together. That is helping them to do a better business to technology alignment. When I say business to technology alignment, it's basically how the business can be run smoothly with the available technology. The other important aspect is not every SMB player have adequate money to address it, but the problem is same. They still need to adapt digital. So this is where they can go and avail the corpus fund that they can create among themselves. For example, a plastic manufacturing cluster can pool some money together and they can go invest on a technology for all of them together. Of course, with all those multi-tenant and security and secrecy or privacy involved. When I say that a lot of times the infrastructures are going to be common, the hosting is going to be common. What really needs to be insulated is their business data, their private data. Those are things which are still inbuilt, and you know the current technology stack which is kind of helping all of them. And when they create a corpus, when they create a technology corpus for their cluster, then they can go and create, okay, based on the transaction, based on the size of it, they can become a kind of service group, and they can provide service in a subscription basis. For example, somebody who are in a very small size, somebody who are making some, say, $500 million kind of turnover, probably subscription plan may involve only the core apps that may be probably cheaper than the next bucket of people. So create technology corpus and create internally subscription among themselves. It's not something that they pay outside, but they buy it in block and kind of share it. And I have seen similar things in a different industry forums. I have seen it in one of the larger industrial manufacturing. They manufacture or they create the oxygen bottling for their industrial use. and this is being bottled for the entire cluster. They have some 300 400 members. So what they do, they create oxygen bottles, oxygen cylinders, and they sell it within their units. What it means, it's not something which is being purchased from outside. So there's nothing called margin which is earned by vendors, which means they can get those products at cost. The same thing can be applied in the technology also, which means you can buy technology at a the higher volume and distribute within your cluster, which will make it very simple. Not only that, if you look at it, the government has really created a lot of, and this is what Dr. Moni was also highlighting. There are a lot of MSME grants available today. There are a lot of technology grants available, and it has been published as an e-book. Everybody can access it from the Ministry of MSME, and it is about 61 page the document, where you can see what are the grants available for simple applications to the productivity improvement, to the digital marketing, to various tenets of your business. And in a lighter vein, Dr. Moni was mentioning yesterday, many times even the important stakeholders might not have seen this document. So avail those grants. So when you work as a cluster, when you join as a cluster and avail those funds, it will be very easy. Your financial burden will be minimized at a very smaller level, and you will be able to afford it. And sourcing, many times when you go for it, as an individual company, if you go and negotiate, you may be having challenges because you don't really know what they're talking. First of all, we vendors have a different lingo, and you have a different way of talking to us. So create a sourcing, technology sourcing or procurement panel at a cluster level, and that panel can run the bids, run the tenders, and get it at a better and cheaper prices. Not only that, and we also noticed that the retention of technology workers or operators is a bigger problem. So how to cut that down? Again, this is another area where we can do a capacity building, which means we can go and train people based on the technology stack that we have been using. So it can start from, say, like a school pass out can be trained in some of the basic technology stack, and you can build those capacity. And this can be even done in a very simpler way, like you can go to industry institute initiatives, and you can probably get interns, or you can create that technology stack, and the curriculum can be shared to the neighboring institutions, the colleges, and they can probably help you out with the fresh talent, and they can stick with you for probably a few months as an intern, and they can still continue if you provide it. In the meantime, if these people leave the jobs, you can still replace with another talent faster. So industry institute initiatives for SMBs can really help in this way, where you can go to the diploma holders, you can go to the school pass outs, and you can go to the undergraduates and probably take them faster. That way you can de-risk the whole thing, and you can have the better talent at a nominal price. And the institutes also can probably improve the employability situation for their students. This can be a win-win for every stakeholder in that region. So overall, the digital adoption will be better for all of them. And say, for instance, you buy some tally kind of software, and say you many times call your vendor, the vendor is not reaching, and you still have problems how to resolve a particular issue. So consider a situation where you create a pool of shared support engineers or support personnel at your cluster level at each area, probably a part-time or full-time or on-demand. So these kind of shared support pool can cut down the support cost for your digital, right? So this can start from the very fundamental core technologies to the transformational technology. So you can create a shared support panel. Many times even the vendors provide you that kind of shared support, or they train your personnel and you may still have it. So when you join together, the economies of scale and the cluster approach will bring in a faster adoption of technology at a throwaway price, and all your risks are de-risked. So the last thing, many times you will know how will my cluster advisory panel work. So we have a lot of people like Dr. Moni, take me, and I've been spending considerable amount of time helping the the industry communities in and around. There are a lot of people who talk to me over phone. They send WhatsApp messages and get the ideas. And I go create awareness at a different industry forums at different times. And I'm a part of the industry panel, the similar cluster panels. I try to educate people. The same way universities like Chobit is involved in this kind of policy framework and coming up with some thought leadership material. Persons like Dr. Moni is taking this kind of cases to the government and trying to get more adaptable scenario. So if you look at it, just go and approach it in a cluster way to get more and more better technology, better digital technology solutions at a probably a very least cost, and that way you can make the trade-off and you can move forward. I think we have come to the closer. So in the digital, many times we try to experiment and throw it off, and again after 6 months, after a year or two, again we feel the need of technology. Again we re-enter. But if you go in a very staggered manner, probably you don't get the better result. So you have to endure. You have to take something and live with that. To live with that and have a continuous experience, continuous engagement with the technology solutions. That's where we have highlighted some of the possible solutions or possible hints that you can practice. So I can say that there are a lot of people like me, a lot of industry bodies are adapting to the similar strategies. So you can avail because we are the technology powerhouse of the world, India. So we have a lot of people at a mid level. We can help the industries and help even the technology people, the entrepreneurs who are trying to create technology. We can talk to somebody who are aware of the both worlds, like both technology world as well as the SMBs. The people, some who are here, who are creating technology solutions, please get in touch, talk to technocrats, talk to senior people like Dr. Moni, myself, and a lot of friends you have, and try to understand how the SMBs are working, how various minor subverticals in the SMB world is working, and try to get a sense of things. And you have a lot of knowledge available online. And with this, I think all of us, both technology players as well as the overall industry peers, everybody have to stick together, work together, and endure so that we can maximize the opportunities for SMBs. SMBs are going to build the country and they are going to take us forward. So we need to help them. That's our bottommost commitment of the society. So have a very cohesive, systematic approach that will produce great results. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Mr. R.K. Jeyabalan. Systematic approach produces fantastic result. And it was a very eye-opening address. And let me see that whether Dr. Jeyabalan has joined. He wanted to interact with you. Let me call him. His name. At the same time, he is also president of Entrepreneurs Association, Software Industries Development Association. You wanted to make tier 2, tier 3, cities as knowledge economy, and also that the way in which you have worked during the COVID situation, wave 1, in collaboration with IIT Chennai, you've done a complete study of the situation of all small businesses and small entrepreneurs, involving all the associations of Tamil Nadu. And
Hello.
today your
Hello,
talk
I'm
was
with you.
very important.
No.
Yes,
No,
please
I
join.
joined the session through the YouTube. I didn't realize that you sent me the link. Now I am with you. Please.
Okay, so that is, sir, and it'll be very nice that before I summarize, thank you for your joining. And you gave a very important talk in the webinar series on seizing the opportunities and creating value creation network in digital era towards a self-reliant economy. And today we had an opportunity to have a talk by Mr. R.K. Jeyabalan. He is a technologist, technology developer, entrepreneur, and also social in enterpriser. And he himself says that for people's purpose, he is also a politician working for a citizens development based at Madurai. Today he talked about very effectively, and you also listened to that. And I would like to hear your, remarks. And also you can interact with the Mr. R.K. Jeyabalan. And he is one of the enterprising entrepreneur, emerging from the city of Madurai, southern part of Tamil Nadu. Over to Dr. Jeyabalan. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, Professor Moni, for giving me this unique opportunity. Let me, at the outset, express my sincere appreciation to Mr. R.K. Jeyabalan for the brilliant presentation with a lot of practical connotations. Mr. Jeyabalan, you really address the brutal ground realities of developing SMEs and how to use digital devices as effective means of fostering their growth and development. Congratulations. Now, I like the presentation very much, and particularly the way you started. First of all, to understand an enabling environment for SMEs to thrive in an internationally competitive environment. And as you rightly said, the contours and tenets of enabling environment very often change on daily basis, and the stakeholders are not aware of that. So through digital means, they should be kept informed of those developments, and they have to keep pace with the rapidly changing related facets. Having said that, I just want to ask you something very important. Let me first clean that ambiguity, definitional ambiguity related to digitizing and digitalization of SMEs. Am I right in saying digitizing means you are storing all relevant information and data in digital form? And digitalization means what is stored is used as a potential source of rekindling new and dynamic sources of growth. Am I right?
Absolutely, sir.
Am I right? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Having cleaned this ambiguity, I want to concentrate on the first one, and that is very, very crucial. Why can't we use the digital device to create an inventory of the modern industrial applications of a given country's, of India's resource base at the highly disaggregated segments? What I mean is, you take production data and the export data, I mean ISIC, International Standard Industrial Classification data, and standard trade data, SITC categories, go deep at the 5-digit category. You go 2-digit categories, you go 3-digit categories, then 4-digit category, and 5-digit category. That means when we go to 5-digit categories, you reach all the disaggregated segments of each product based on a particular resource base. At that level, is it possible to create an inventory of the modern industrial applications of the country's resource base, which is missing? No one is talking. See, you can talk about the environment, support system, grant, and this and that. Eventually, they have to produce something to capture the niche markets, products. So firstly, I think it's important to concentrate more on that, having created that information, and then at the highly disaggregated segments, you try to identify the world's best practice in processing, design, and marketing, and then tell our SME stakeholders how to reduce the distance to their distance to the world's best practice. They may not be able to do that. It requires a lot of investment, technology, lot of efforts, etc., etc. They at least to know where do they stand in processing, designing, and marketing that particular product, and what is the world's best practice, and what is the distance, their distance to the world's best practice, and how to identify viable avenues of reducing the distance to world's best practice. Is it possible to do it at IS protection data level and the trade data level? Is it possible?
Yes, definitely it is possible. Let me add a few more points, sir, with your permission. This is a journey which we need to undertake. It doesn't happen, over a period of time. It's a journey that we need to travel. I can take one similar situation. Take our NSDC, right? The PMKVY, today's PMKVY. Okay, they initially started NSDC with the skill mapping and the qualification packs. And I still remember, a few years back when they had the skills in the agriculture sector, there were 3 or 4 qualification packs. So don't think that I'm digressing. I'm trying to come, very close to that. So when they mapped the skills involved in the agri industry, they had only 2 or 3 qualification packs initially. I still remember 5 or 6 years ago. But today, at least they have been able to get closer. So the mapping the skills is directly relational to the understanding of processes. Okay, so part of it is already it's happening at various levels like NSDC and other things. That's one way of doing. The other thing what industries have to do is each of those forums, each of those sub clusters, they have to document their process. But the challenge is who's running those industry forums. Can they take the kind of consultative exercise? It's not. Again, it's a very complex thing. The government has to set the tone. They have to probably create a task force to oversee, because who's going to decide the standards? How is it going to be done? So there is a fair amount of standards which have to be laid, and all of us together, all the stakeholders have to get together, and we have to prioritize what we are going to do first, second, third, and over a period of time, say within 3-4 years, if we are getting into a very concerted effort, I think we can definitely map the processes which are being used, the technologies that are in need, that are being used, or that is required for future, which we can do in 2-3 years with the kind of scale of manpower, technology power, and the knowledge power that we have with thought leaders like you. It's definitely possible, sir. It's a time-taking exercise, but I think it's a wonderful point that you have proposed, that it has to be documented to go for the next level. Unless we have that kind of definitions, we cannot really achieve anything meaningful. But if we have something of that sort, it's a great idea as you have put it. If we have that, probably the government will wake up and they will probably bring in more cohesive support. But today they are giving it in a very broader way. They give a grant so that you can go and create something on your own. But once you define it in a very cohesive manner, the government itself can come up and create solutions for them. We all can join together with the government. Even the larger technology majors, they can come and contribute. So it will become real. It's a matter of time, but it's an effort which we all have to do. And I think we have the right person, Professor Moni, who's already catalyzing these kind of initiatives. And together with the industry peers, the industry bodies, we all can get in and we can start this. It's a great idea.
Excellent. Thank you very much for your rapt attention and apt response. I fully agree with you that eventually, having identified the world's best practice in processing, designing, and marketing disaggregated products, everything depends on the enhanced adaptive capabilities and skills and you explained it in a very convincing way. Enhanced adaptive capabilities and skills to use modern technology and to commercialize a new knowledge. Am I right? Am I putting it in the right perspective? I'm recapping what you said.
Yes.
And in order to do that, you have so many instruments used by the government, in terms of policy interventions, rendering technical assistance and business support services. Many are not just aware of this. In fact, these technical assistance and business support services rendered by the government are tantamount to the government babysitting enterprises. But people are not just aware of it. So how to disseminate that information? What type of institutional mechanisms we can have, even at the village level or at the district level, in order to disseminate the pertinent knowledge effectively so that SMEs benefit from the at least the available institutional support systems and business services.
Yes, I think it is not one way. It has to be both ways. The industries or the user community have to come forward, and they have to cooperate. Many times there are a lot of things available, but people are not, as you have rightly put it, there's no awareness of what is available. So when do they get aware of things is when they are in dire need. Okay. The need is the best instrument that will make things real. But when do they get to that? Because they are in a constant endeavors of fighting back and just maneuvering their business and trying to stay afloat. So that's their situation. So when will they really hear to this? How does it happen? So if you look at it, the government is also creating a foundation for this consciously. At least the last 15 years, 10 to 15 years, irrespective of the political spectrum, the UADA is a wonderful thing where we have tried to map the individuals of the country. You have the unique idea of persons. And slowly now we have come to a stage after 15, 20 years, we have come to a stage where at least we have the Udyogada, right? The Udayam. So we have started taking stock of the businesses or the companies involved. There are still many things which are operating out of this realm. So that also needs to bring in. So that synergetic understanding will make kind of 360-degree approach where even if industries do not come forward and get aware, we can get the volunteers to go and talk to them, and the knowledge can be fed. Yeah. The content setting can be done to the industry bodies.
Very good, very good. I'm happy that you also reflected on cluster networking. Collaborate to compete is the new business theology. Now, what is happening? The real problem in cluster networking is the so-called coordination failure. Coordination failure is bound to occur. Maybe digital devices could be used effectively in order to correct the coordination failure. I'm just complimenting. It's not a question. I'm just complimenting what you said. And I really enjoyed it. I think we are meeting at 4 o'clock. Am I right? Professor Moni? Professor Moni, I am supposed to meet with him at 4 o'clock, according to your latest message. Am I right?
I'll talk to you.
Okay. So we will be in touch. I will get your contact details from Professor Moni, and I will be in touch with you. Let us collectively.
You can feel free to. You're closer to me geographically.
Yeah. After the pandemic, you are most welcome to Kanyakumari, where the 3 C's meet. You will be my distinguished guest. Then let us interact. Okay, I will be in touch with you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the great opportunity. Professor Moni, there is an emergency in my family. I have to attend to something very important. Someone is very sick, and people are waiting there. I will run off now. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
So thank you very much, sir, for joining and taking this valuable time to interact with the speaker, Mr. Jeyabalan. And your views is very important. That unless we get into the 5-digit level, understanding of what we produce and what type of technology which we do, what is the distance with respect to the world class best practices, unless that does it, how to make it local and how to make it local and make it global. You know that. See the made in India, make in India 2.0 has to meet the world best practices, which you have voiced it today. I think it is. I'm very happy that it is by it is a virtue of good intention that you would like to join, and also that and Mr. Jeyabalan and I think it's very important to bring in this digital technology based developments of SMEs and small business and small enterprises very effectively. And the combination is fantastic with your vast knowledge at the international arena, and also from UNIDO, and a person like Mr. Jeyabalan, he's the president of a software development industries and also entrepreneur and also social entrepreneur, and he also deeply involved in database based decision making. And thank you very much. And please, go and see the family emergency, and we are also praying for fast recovery and so on and so forth. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Jeyabalan, nice meeting you. Nice meeting with you.
Thanks for
Okay. I certainly need you. Okay, thank you.
Please feel free.
Thank you,
Okay,
sir.
thank you.
So, continuing with my summarization, Mr. Jeyabalan, I'm very happy. Today, you had an interaction by a person none other than Dr. Jeyabalan Vinanchi Arachi. He is a very excellent international economist, worked in industrial economics, and also, he is basically started his career as a lecturer in college. And then he joined, and we are working very closely, and he is also associated with the university, and he understands that the type of services the Soviet Institute of Engineering and Technology is doing. He's very happy about that. That's why he took, you can see that he wants to participate, understand, and tell to the audience that in addition to what Mr. Jeyabalan says, this is also more important. And that shows his interest and positive attitude. And to summarize it, you very nicely talked about in 7 categories. Now you talked about the global perspective with respect to SMB's characteristic. And this can be brought by a person like you who has got vast experience, not from the industry point of view, and also a person who is as an industrialist and a digital technologist, and brought out very effective, important points, which everybody who is involved in, whether they are in the 3rd generation or 2nd generation or next, new generation, entrepreneurs. Then you talked about the stakeholders' view with respect to the digital transformation. Why digital transformation? How digital transformation? And where to have it? You almost answered a complete value chain of digital transformation with respect to small businesses and small entrepreneurs. Then you also talked about, while adopting technology, what is the prevailing myths and impediments, how to overcome with your confidence, which you have exhibited. And nobody can question that, because you are a man with practice on the ground. Then you also very nicely explained to the people as an actionable, plan, not action plan, that various stages to transformation. Then you talked about opportunities, the values, the risk, and the threats for self and the stakeholders. And finally, you said it that, the transformation has to take place at the cluster level. Cluster level approach is important because for small business and small entrepreneurs, so the investment, financial investment is very important. So this is a cluster level approach is very important. That's what Dr. Jeyabalan also in his brief intervention very nicely said it. 2 points we said it, have a cluster approach and also make a large scale awareness up to the village level, because village level entrepreneurship, small business and enterprises has to be with, best practices for them to be a national level entrepreneur or global level entrepreneur. And he also said it that we have to have the best practices, the skill, the gap analysis to be done at the 5-digit level, not to 2-digit level, 3-digit level, 4-digit level. This is one of the project proposal I would like to request you to prepare it and let us do it through the university. It's very important under this center for center for these 2 centers of excellence.
Okay.
Then last one you said it, endurance is the key. Don't lose your heart. It will happen. You put the good seed, and the seed will grow, and it will it will grow like anything. And it is endurance is an important thing, and endurance will make the success. It will result in success. So systematic approach and endurance are necessary for achieving success in our path. So I think I'm very happy that with having you address in this international webinar series, which in association with African Asian Rural Development Organization. It is made available to all their 33 member countries, and also our 28 states and union territories of India. And I'm very happy that with these 2 centers of excellence of the Soviet Institute of Engineering Technology, and a person like you who is involved in this process effectively at the grassroots level, we will undertake digital transformation in small enterprises and small businesses industries. Let us understand challenge. Let us let us utilize the opportunities which are available to make our small enterprises and small businesses is on par with what is happening in Japan, what is happening in Korea, what is happening in Philippines, what is happening in Singapore, and what is happening in European Union, and what is happening in America. It is very essential. The solutions which you adopt, the methods which you adopt, the countries, many of our, the countries with whom India has got good diplomatic relation, cultural relation, will adopt without any hesitation. So, thank you very much for joining the international webinar series today on open source digital technologies for self-reliant India. This will go a long way to, make the small enterprises and small businesses to undertake digital transformation. And I would like to reiterate once again, what I, said it in my introductory remark. I'll also repeat it. I talked as a digital transformation of SMEs, as a titled Digital SMEs, way back in 2005 at Madras Institute of Technology, Cropate. And that time I requested the university, the institute, to have one cluster, urban cluster around Chennai to get into digitalization. That is 2004, now it is 2021. And all higher education institution has to adopt, outside their campus walls. That's more important. The second one is that the establishment of a center of excellence at university with industry partners, CITSA, and we are going to launch an MBA program on Industry 4.0 to SMEs to undertake capacity building, capability building of these SMEs cluster wise. It's very important. And we would like to have your strong support in this, aspect. We would like to have your support and your association with the university to promote digital transformation in small enterprises and small businesses. As you rightly said it, with the action plan which you have got it now in the form of 7 points, let us do it in a very collaborative and cooperative manner through project mode. It is very important. And we also, I would like to tell you that, we wanted to bring in, Kanyakumari Techno Industrial Park. You rightly said it that how the industry and academy has to work. When Mr. Farmer, Honorable Minister, Mr. Pon Radhakrishnan was the Minister of State in the government of, in central government, during his period, we put up a proposal to establish Kanyakumari Techno Industrial Park with labs in every engineering college located in Kanyakumari district, and also polytechnic, and also non-engineering colleges who teach computer science and other engineering discipline. And it is very important. Every district has to have a techno-industrial park. Techno-industrial park. It's very important. It is not like not only in industrial, urban areas. We had in Coimbatore, we had in Trichy, we had in, Chennai. Now it has to come to every district has to have an industrial park for the industries to grow based on the natural resource available from that particular district. That only will create, the large scale development of village industries and natural resource environmental utilization, resource use efficiency, and generating large scale employment opportunities and large scale R&D, from the higher education institution. With this, I thank you very much, and with this we will close the webinar and leave studio. Thank you.
Thanks, Professor Moni sir, and thanks for the audience. Thank you very much.
Thanks for your participation and greeting from Sobit University. For more research inquiries, please contact Professor Moni Madaswamy, Professor Emeritus and Chairman, Center for Informatics Development Solutions and Applications, and Center for Industry 4.0 Technology Studies and Application, and former Director General, National Informatics Center, Government of India, New Delhi. My email ID is moni@sobituniversity.ac.in. We thank